Hello. Once again, I am unable to share the show. So hopefully you guys can do that for me. Um, just hit the share button at the bottom. I don't know why my Facebook does not tell me when the show is live, but that's okay. That's okay. Hopefully you guys can get the show shared out for me. What else? Check in the comments. I do have some topics that I would like to talk about. Oh, good. Tina got it at least. I don't know why I didn't get it, but hello, Tina. The room is full of Tinas tonight. Yeah, I do have some topics that I want to cover tonight. Two of them were ones from last week that I didn't get to, so we'll try to get to those. But make sure if you guys want to talk about something, I'll try to check my phone during the broadcast. You can message me if you want to, say something secretive. I don't know. But if you are comfortable, put it in the comments and we'll talk about it. It's been a crazy week. The holidays are especially emotional, good, bad, ugly, whatever. They always tend to hit a little harder. So if you've got something good or bad that happened, for Christmas or coming up for New Year's, then let us know. Let us know what your favorite present you gave or got, if you did that. Whatever you guys want to talk about. With New Year's, I don't know if you guys saw, I posted on the Facebook page an awesome idea that I think that all of you should do for 2023. We did it in the past and it was phenomenal. All you do is take a jar, any jar, old peanut butter jar. You can be super fancy, do something cute with a mason jar, whatever, and get some scrap pieces of paper. And all throughout the year, anytime you have something, no matter how small it is, that you're grateful for, write it down on a piece of paper and put it in the jar. And then next year, when you are celebrating New Year's Eve, you take that jar out and you just remember everything wonderful that happened throughout the year. I think that this is so important because, when it gets to be the end of the year, everybody's like, oh, I can't wait for this year to be over. And everybody focuses on all the bad shit that happened. But there's always good things that happen. And I think those tend to get overshadowed by the bad things that happen. So it's super important, just to go into a new year with a grateful attitude and, to remember all the good things that happened. Ugh. That is no fun, Tina. But I'm glad that you have all of those other things. Thank you so much, Darren. So I want to jump right into the thing that I wanted to talk about last week, because this honestly is something that is so important to me. Yes, I am a female, but men's mental health is so important to me. Obviously, I'm raising 3 little men. So this is something that is really important to me and I feel like is never talked about. And I wanted to actually share this TikTok that I saw because it really hit me. It really, as a mom of 3 boys and a wife, really hurt. So look at this real quick and then we'll talk about it.
Be honest, who do you call when you are at your lowest? Who is that one person?
Nobody. I'm a man. No one cares.
Not a single soul. Nobody.
No one. Because I'm all alone.
I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that I don't call anyone.
Nobody. I'm a guy. Nobody gives a shit.
Speaking for the guys when I say this, literally no one. call someone?
Nobody. Just nobody. Got no one to talk to, so nobody. Who cares? Nobody.
No one. I'm a man. No one cares.
No one. Not a single fucking person.
I wouldn't call anyone. I wouldn't turn to a single person on this earth because they don't care. They will just find a way to use it against me one day.
We can call somebody?
Okay, right, Tina? That's terrible. I know that, I mean, I hope that I am that person for people. I hope that guys know that they can come to me and I'm not going to tell them to man up, and I'm not going to tell them that they shouldn't have big feelings, because obviously everybody has them. We're all humans. It's hard for me to watch that because, you know, I like to think that I'm that person for my kids, but who knows? You know, maybe they don't feel that way, and maybe they don't feel like they have anybody. This is why men have such a higher suicide rate, and it's terrible. They're forced to hide their emotions, you know, man up. If a girl tells her friends, oh, I had a bad day, so I took a bath and had a glass of wine and just bawled my eyes out, then everybody's like, oh, good for you. But if a guy were to say something similar, then he would be made fun of. And I hate that more than anything. It's not fair. And honestly, it's disgusting. Like, it's 2022. Could we not do that anymore? Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But I do know a lot of my guy friends will come to me if they have something going on, because they know that I'm not going to ever judge them for having big feelings and whatever. But I just want to encourage you guys, you know, if you have somebody who's struggling with something, a guy who's struggling with something, you know, it's not hard to see when people are going through something. You know, if they lost their job, if they are going through a divorce, if they just are pulling back from everybody, maybe not going out with the guys as much, whatever, just reach out to them and just let them know that you are there to talk to them. And please don't ever say the phrase man up. That shit pisses me off so much. Hello, Kathy. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, and not to be morbid though, but like, I'm not going to be around for my kids forever. And it scares me. Like, I hope that they have somebody, you know, we all, girls, we all have somebody. And even if it's not somebody that you know, confess your deepest, darkest secrets to, you know, we have somebody that we can call and vent to, right? Like, we can just call and bitch to somebody. But most guys don't even have that person. They don't even have one person that they would call. So if you are a guy and you don't have that person, hi, I will be your person. Oh gosh, so sorry, Wolliver. That's good. And it's not, you know, when you're raised that way, it is not something that you can just like wake up one day and be like, you know what, I don't have to man up. That's not, you know, that's not an easy thing to jump into. It is going to be piece by piece, but I'm glad that you know, we have the same circle of friends, a lot of them, and we do have some amazing, supportive, fantastic people in our lives. So I'm glad that the universe brought us all together, and, you know, you have that in your friends, because it's so important. Gosh, I mean, one little thing can just fester for years and years and years. And then when you get upset by something, then every single thing that happens is going to make it worse and worse and worse and worse. And it'll get to a point where, you're going to say things or do things that you would regret, when really all you needed to do was just vent. All you needed to do was just call somebody, set a 5-minute timer and bitch for 5 minutes and feel better. It's not something that should be reserved for women. Self-care is definitely not something that should be reserved for women. And, maybe guys' self-care looks totally different, but that's fine. Fantasy football leagues, going hunting, my husband does those kind of things. He would never call them self-care, but it is. He's getting away from the everyday stuff and he's going and doing something that he loves. And that's important. Just to have that. And, I actually talked to him about what the guys talk about at the cabin. I was like, do you guys like talk about your marriages? Do you talk about like, do you like work out your problems? He's like, no, never. But I mean, at least they're there for each other and they know that they would be there, right? If they needed something. Yeah. Right. Kathy, there's the old, are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about. Yes. Oh my gosh. Video games, I feel like, get a bad rap. We were just talking about this at work the other day. Honestly, like I'd be happy to have my husband home playing video games. Like, how is that hurting anything? If it makes him happy, there's no difference between, him playing video games and me watching Hallmark movies or whatever, true crime documentaries. Everybody's got their thing that calms them down. And I don't even know if it's calming you down. It's just turning off your brain, right? Like sometimes when I get really stressed, like I won't even scroll Facebook. I won't even watch TikTok videos. I will literally just sit there in the quiet and do nothing. Like sometimes you just need to turn off your brain. So do whatever it is that gives you that peace, whether it's for, 5 minutes or an hour or whatever. It's super important. So I just wanted to talk about that because I hate it. If I'm being honest, I hate it. I hate the way we stigmatize men's mental health. And I think that it's something that everybody should work on. And I hope that if you guys see somebody struggling with something, obviously they probably will never admit that they're struggling with something. And maybe you don't even have to ask them like, hey, is there anything you want to talk about? Because they're probably going to say no, because that's what's in their nature. That's what's been drilled into their head their entire lives. But, if they play Xbox, maybe just give them a gift card and be like, oh, somebody gave me this and I don't need it. Do you want it? Like just little things that will give them a reason to do self-care. And, you're not calling it self-care, so they won't feel bad doing it. I don't know, just little things. Maybe just ask them if they want to do something, or just start venting yourself. Start the conversation, and just by you talking about your feelings and your emotions and your struggles and whatever, then it will let them know that it's safe for them to do the same. Yeah. That's a tough one too. I can't imagine growing up in that time. Yeah. Because for whatever reason, like, I don't know, things like going to the doctor or like talking about your feelings or whatever, like those are seen as like weaknesses, right? I'm not saying they are. I'm saying this is how messed up our society is. Those are signs of weakness, right? Like those are things that frail, fragile girls do, right? It's not things that men do. And I think it's the opposite, honestly. I think that for a man to say, hey, I'm really struggling, I need help, I need somebody to talk to, whatever, I think that takes so much courage and so much strength and so much bravery. It's not it's not at all a sign of weakness, because I feel like the weakness is like, conforming to that and giving into it. I think that if you are brave enough to stand up and say, hey, I know I'm not supposed to say this out loud, but I'm struggling, I think that that's so freaking brave. I think it's so important to do as well. So look out for the guys in your life. Okay. Yeah. Tony. So you don't voluntarily go to the doctor. You just know that Kathy will give you a hard time if you don't go. That's fine. You're allowed to pick on him, Kathy. You got a ring on your finger that says you're allowed. That's what I tell my husband all the time. I got a ring on my finger that says I'm allowed. So that was one of the things that I really, really wanted to talk about. And hopefully you guys will just pay a little bit more attention, and notice the men in your life. And, if you find that they're, giving one word answers all the time, or just acting differently, then just reach out to them. The other thing that was brought up to me by a few people, and is also a big topic for me, is being in toxic relationships when you have children. I have I have a few people in my life who have really struggled with this. And once again, it goes back to the bullshit of supposed to be, right? I hate those words. People feel like a home is supposed to be two parents and the kids, right? And we have this like fucked up theory, that if it's not that way, then it's considered a broken home, right? So many words that I hate. So many things make such a big difference. By calling it a broken home, you're telling people that it's wrong, right? Because it shouldn't be that way. I was in a relationship that was not that great. My oldest, his dad and I get along fine now, but we were not made for each other, right? And that's fine. And it got to a point at the end where here's what really was, the cherry on the cake, as Kimmel says. He came home from work one day and we were just standing in the kitchen talking, and Ryan was maybe 2, and he came up to us and he said, "Don't yell, Daddy." He thought that just because we were talking to each other that we were going to fight and that we were going to be yelling at each other. And that really, really, really hit me. It was a real eye opener, right? Like my toddler recognizes that this is a toxic relationship. My toddler recognizes that this doesn't work. And I wanted so bad to stay together because, my parents were divorced. And when I was young and dumb, I didn't understand. And I thought that was a terrible thing. Now looking back on it, I'm so glad, because my parents don't belong together either. But I didn't want my kid to have to live in a divorced household. But then the more I thought about it, I don't want my kid to live in this either, because at the end of the day, the broken household is not when it's only one parent or a step parent or whatever. It's when you're teaching your kid improper ways to love somebody, right? This is the point that I try to drive home to people who are in this situation. You have to take your children and put them in that situation. Yes. You take your children, say you take your daughter. Would you want your daughter to be treated the way that you are being treated? If the thought of her being treated that way breaks your heart or makes you sad, then you need to leave. And it doesn't have to be a bitter thing. It doesn't have to be like, you take the kids and never see them again. It just isn't fixed, okay? If that's the opposite of broken. That's a broken house to me, because your kids are watching. Your kids are learning how to love someone, and they are learning how to be loved. And so if you think that you would be happy with the way that you're being loved if that was your children, then by all means stay. But if not, that's a broken home, and it's time to part ways. Exactly. It hurts them more, and it is more broken if you stay. Yes, because when they grow up, they are going to look for those things in their relationships, because to them, that's what it means to be loved. And so that's what they're going to accept, and that's what they're going to seek out when they're adults. And if that doesn't make you happy, then you shouldn't be there. Sorry, Kathy, I missed it. Yep. Exactly. And say you're in a physically abusive relationship. Say you have a husband who's beating his wife, and they have a son and a daughter together. And that's what these kids are watching all the time. So when that daughter starts dating and she's in relationships, she's going to accept someone hitting her, because that's what she grew up learning. That's what she knows as a marriage. That's what she thinks a marriage is supposed to be. Does that make you happy? No, then leave. The son, you are teaching him that in order to love your wife, you have to hit her, right? And not all relationships are physically abusive. There's a lot of other things, but if you're thinking that it's better to stay just so that the kids can have two parents in the same household, put your kids in your shoes and then rethink it. If it doesn't make you happy, then you shouldn't be there, and you shouldn't be teaching them that. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. That's a huge no-no for me. But it is, it's sad. Not everybody is mature enough to do that. Actually, my ex and I broke up when my son was 2, and I think he was maybe 14 or 15 when he overheard me talking about his dad. And this was something that I don't do. I never talked bad about his dad in front of him. And he heard me talking to my husband about his dad. And he said, "You don't like my dad?" And he was honestly shocked. He thought that me and his dad were friends, not because we were friends, but because I refused from day one of our breakup to talk shit about his dad in front of him. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't help anything. All it does is hurt my son. And I refuse to do that. And I also refuse to keep him from his dad. We never even went to court when we broke up. We never did a custody agreement. It was always, if you want to see him, take him. He's your kid too. He would take him every weekend. He'd see him every holiday. If there was a random day during the week, he could take him. You want to go on family vacation for a week? Take him. It's your kid. And I think that that's a huge thing for me too, Scott, is when people use their kids like pawns, and it's not doing anything for your kids. It's just hurting your kids in the end. You might think that you're hurting your ex, but you're not doing as much damage as you are to your children. Yeah, I agree. I see it all the time. And I see it from people who you wouldn't expect. It's not like it's just certain kinds of people do that. Unfortunately, it's a lot of people use their kids as pawns. Yeah. Yeah, there's even, I mean, like I was talking about, my son was 2 and he picked up on what we were going through. He picked up on the fact that we were just going to fight, because that's what we do. That's what mommy and daddy do. That's what love is yelling at each other. Maybe kids don't understand, like the pettiness or the vindictiveness or whatever, but they understand hurt, and they understand, pain and all of those things. And you might think that your kids are little and they just don't understand what's going on, but they do. And you're making permanent impressions on them. Yes. That was another reason I never said anything bad about my kid's dad. First of all, it's just tacky. It's not right to put my feelings into his head. Even as an adult, I'm still that way. If you, Kathy, you're one of my good friends. If you don't like somebody, I'm not just going to immediately not like them. If they didn't ever do anything to me, if it's like something major, then that's different. But I'm not one of those people who just like immediately take sides. And I don't expect kids to do that either. I'm not going to tell my son that his dad is a jerk and he should hate him. Like, that's his dad. He should love him. Whether I love him or not, he should still love his dad. And that's totally fine. It's so like self-centered and selfish to like put that out to your kids, like thinking that they should not like their parent because you don't. Like, you're not the center of the earth, bud. It's your kid who is. So let them make their own decisions, and eventually they will see the truth. I always worried when Ryan was little, because his dad would always like Christmas. I struggled so much with Christmas, basically the entire time of me being a parent. But, I would struggle to get him, a $50 present that he wanted. And then he would come home from his dad's and I would be like, oh, what did you get? And he'd be like, oh, I got a dirt bike and a skateboard and an Xbox. And it was like all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how children pick a favorite parent, right? Like they buy me all these things and whatever. And I used to get so upset about it. And I was like, eventually it's all going to work out, right? I'm just going to continue to be there for him and be his safe space, and to be as close to him as I can, and to love him as much as I can. And hopefully someday he'll see the truth, and that, everything's not about money, and, money doesn't give you happiness and whatever. And now he has, he's 18 and he is such an amazing kid, and he's so smart, and he's so just way more mature than most adults I know, in terms of how to interact with people and whatever. Oh, I could go on for an hour just about how amazing he is. But it all worked out in the end. I spent so many years worrying about it, and I didn't need to. Yeah, there's that too. There's that too. His dad and I did not get along. We did not belong together. We started dating when we were 14. We turned into totally different people in the 9 years that we were together. We just weren't compatible. That doesn't mean that he's not a good dad. You know, he still is a good dad. That's possible to be two different things, you know, to not be a good partner, but to be a good parent. Excuse me, bitch, you told me I was literally your favorite person. But you're right. He is just such a good kid. I hate to say kid because he's 18, almost 19, but he really is. Yeah. That's good. I mean, not sorry, my brain like was already on to the second part. It was obviously not good that he was abusive, but I'm glad that you told them to pay attention and to know him. I don't, I'm assuming you're talking about not liking people. I don't know. I just feel like, you know, we talked about this last week. There's sometimes where people just don't jive well together, right? Like they just aren't going to be compatible friends. They maybe it's their way of thinking or the way they raise their kids or whatever. Sometimes people just don't get along. And if somebody never really did anything to me, but like one of my friends doesn't like them because of one of those reasons, I'm not going to just immediately hate that person. I just can't do it. It's not who I am. That's true. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure, Kathy. Because if somebody is like just morally repulsive, I'm not about that anyways. I have no business even trying to be friends with somebody like that. I'm too old for that. Yeah. That's true. I don't have that energy for it anymore either, Kathy. I'll be 40 next month and I'm already over it. Um I just don't life is way too short. Way too short. Um when I was 37, my cousin, who was a year younger than me, died very unexpectedly. And when she died, we were in a fight. Okay. We were in a stupid fight about her brother. And I don't even remember to this day what the fight was about. I don't remember. But when she died, it was so hard because she had unfriended me on Facebook. And I know it sounds so stupid. It's petty and it's dumb, right? To unfriend somebody on Facebook. But that broke my heart because when everybody's posting these beautiful memories of her and pictures of her throughout her life, I didn't get to see those. I missed out on all of that because of some stupid fight. And ever since then, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I can't do drama. I can't do fights. I can't do negativity. I can't do it. Life is way, way too short to be anything but happy. And I refuse. And it is literally that simple. I woke up and I just decided I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with drama. I'm done with the negativity. I can't do it anymore. And I feel like I physically can't do it. And that's a lesson that Ryan's actually learning right now. He is only 18. And in the last month, he's had 2 of his friends that he has known since elementary school die in a car accident. It's been very hard. I can't imagine what he's going through, but it's something that I've really been trying to teach him lately. Life is way too short, and you don't have to spend your time doing things that make you sad or that make you angry or make you upset. You don't have to do them. You don't. I know people think like, oh, well, it's so and so. I have to. No, you don't. You don't have to. You make a choice every single day whether you are going to participate or not, right? You don't have to participate in drama. You don't have to participate in being mean to anybody or bullying or any of those things. You don't have to participate in any of that. And yes. It's just, it was something, yeah, I'm still unfriended too. And I don't regret a lot of things in my life. I don't, because everything that we did brought us to where we are now. And so we don't want to change those things, right? But that is something I do lose sleep over. Especially because I don't even remember what it was about. I know it was about her brother, but I couldn't even tell you what the argument was about. And we let that petty get carried away. And now we will forever miss out on those memories and those things, on her birthday when people post, oh, I happy birthday in heaven. We miss those. We miss them every single time. And for what? Nothing. Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard when somebody hurts you to not say bad things to the kids. I've been unfriending people too, Kathy. Maybe you could come on the show sometime. I actually am working. Well, I said I wasn't going to tell you guys this. I had a friend suggest to me that I get a mixer and something else and make it so that people can call into the show. And oh my God, I would love that so much. But my brain, when he was telling me like what I would need to do, was like, oh no, you can't handle that. You're too dumb for that. You can't do that. And so I kind of just forgot about it because, negative thoughts, my brain won. And I just assumed that I couldn't do it. But I am determined. I want to get it so people can call into the show. So Kathy, you'll have to call in sometime and tell us about your theory. As soon as I can get that figured out. But yeah, I gotta try that because I think it would be good. Sometimes it's hard to see what people, the feelings behind their text when you're just reading a comment. I think it would be good. You know what? I can actually do that on StreamYard too if I just send out a link to people. But I was trying to figure out a way to make it so that I could take multiple people instead of, just sending out a link. Do tell. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, it's just hard because I don't know what's like compatible with StreamYard. So obviously I'll have to talk to the boss man and see what we can do. But I know that I can get like a mixer and get a Google phone number so that I give my phone number out all the time because I'm a realtor. I have to, but I don't know. I just would prefer to have a separate phone number for the show. And then you guys could call in. Oh, cool. Yeah. He's super smart at all that stuff too. It was like Charlie Brown's teacher when my friend was talking to me. You know how Charlie Brown's teacher is like, wah, 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 wah. I was like, way too much. I'm like I don't know. I'm like a boomer, man. I can't get I can't figure out the technology. And the reason I can't have the show go live from the Facebook page that I made for the show is because I can't remember my Facebook password. And I can't like reset my password because I don't have the email that is attached to my Facebook because I've had it for so long. And the email is like no longer active. It doesn't even it doesn't even do anything. And I don't remember the password to that one either. It's terrible. Kathy, I don't even want to hear it. You're probably more, I should call you and ask you how to do things. I'm terrible at it. Me and technology just do not get along. Okay, I'll have to look into Discord. I'll talk to Williver about it. Hopefully we can get that done before next week. But if not, maybe 2 weeks. But speaking of next week, I am, oh my gosh, sorry, that might have been loud. I am going to have my first guest on the show, and it is going to be my sister. I don't know how much you guys know about my sister, but she is a recovering alcoholic, and we were talking about it, and we think that it would be really good to have both of us on the same show. She does a lot of talking in her AA meetings, and I do this, and we thought that it would be really cool to have both of us on the same show and to give people both perspectives. A lot of people suffer from alcoholism, you know, drug addiction, whatever. And a lot of people love somebody who suffers from alcoholism and drug addiction. So we thought it would be super cool to have both of us on the same show. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be so good. But it's going to be 100% real. My sister is an amazing motivator, and she just commands attention from anybody she talks to, and she's so inspiring, and people just love her. And I think it'll be really good to see both sides of addiction. And if it's something that maybe you didn't understand, you know, you don't understand, I'm going to be honest, I was surrounded by alcoholics my entire life, and I don't even understand it. So if there's questions that you have about it, you can ask them, because she's so honest and open and just freaking wonderful. Yes. I keep telling her, Darren, that she needs to go around to schools and things like that and just talk to people, because she's so inspiring. It's going to be so good. Yeah, so spoiler alert, that's next week's show. But you guys didn't tell me about your holidays. Was there good things, bad things? What happened? Tell me. What can we do? What can we talk about? I know that the holidays are super tough, especially if you have people in your family that, you know, cause you pain or bring up bad memories or things like that. It's not always easy to get together with family. So tell me what happened. Did you skip out on getting together with your family? Did you go? Did you get in a fight? did you need bail money? Yeah. Tina, I don't know how you do that job. My friend Jenny is a 911 dispatcher too. I just feel like that's got to be such a tough thing to forget about. Like I talked last week about, when you have problems at work, you leave them at work and you don't bring them home. But I feel like that's a different scenario. I feel like you probably take that with you a lot. I don't know what that was about. So one of the topics involving Christmas that someone brought up, yeah, that was true. It was crazy weather, and that was definitely an out for some people. But one of the things that somebody brought up was just depression and not feeling into it when it comes to Christmas, and still having to put on that face when you have children or family that depends on you to be the organizer, and you still have to bake the cookies, right? And you still have to be jolly, and that's not always easy. So I told the person that I would ask you guys what you do to fake it, I guess. Like, what do you do to get yourselves through the holidays when you don't want anything to do with them, when you are just in a funk and you don't want to be Buddy the Elf? For me personally, I just am really good at it. I'm really good at faking it. And that's terrible. Like, the whole point of the show is not to do that. But I learned over the years how to just smile through it and whatever. But I feel like that's not very good advice. So I was hoping that you guys could give them advice on ways that you get through the holidays. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Tina, you're amazing. You guys, I don't know how you do it. I thought I wanted to be a social worker for a long time. But I realize I take shit way too much to heart, and I'd want to adopt all of the children. And if I couldn't help them, I would be a mess forever. Yeah. Tony's profile picture is them sitting at the table on Christmas. Yeah, you guys have that's such a tough job. Yeah. Yeah, see? That's the good part about being a grandparent, though, because then they just go home and they're not doing that to your house all the time. It's just for a couple hours at a time. Yeah, we were just talking about that too. The holidays are tough, especially when you have so many things that you build these traditions with people, and then to not have them there is so tough. Oh, you guys don't have to alternate? That's no fun. Hey, Patience, where you been? Yeah, see, that's true too, Kathy. I think a lot of the stress at Christmas is like, you know, again, with the bullshit supposed to be. Oh, well, we're supposed to do this and we're supposed to do that. You know what? My family actually did side dishes and appetizers for Christmas this year. Like, I literally brought a tray that had garlic parm pizza rolls, mini corn dogs, and chicken nuggets. That was my contribution to Christmas dinner. Why? Because we decided that it doesn't have to be any certain way. And we're doing Christmas with Richie's mom this weekend. And you know what we're doing? We're getting KFC and pizza. Why not? Like, it doesn't need to be all those things that you think you need to do. Everybody's still going to have a good time, right? Yeah. That's not a bad thing. Oh, yeah. That's so hard because I know that I'm sure that you guys are trained that you can't help everybody and, that you can't take things personally. But when you are a person who has a big heart and you want to help everybody, then I feel like your training probably goes out the window and you probably take that shit home with you. Yeah, exactly. Ham and cheese, sliders, buffalo chicken dip. Perfect. Yeah. That's good. You're so sweet, Kathy. I don't know that's you guys can lean on each other for support because I feel like that's one of those fields that people don't understand. Look at Tony and Kathy just loving each other. They're so cute. Exactly. Why do we have this rule that you're supposed to have Christmas dishes and why? Like, just get the disposable stuff, finish dinner, throw everything away, and don't spend your time in the kitchen doing dishes when you could be watching your grandkids open presents. Like, I don't know why we have these ridiculous standards for things. But I'm so sick of the supposed to. It's the worst. Oh, jeez. You guys are funny. I did want to ask you guys too, what fun traditions you guys have that are like different than normal. Because I'm all about the not normal stuff. What weird things do you guys do? That's my favorite kind of stuff to learn. You're never too old to learn something new, Teresa. That's my mother-in-law, by the way. Nice. Even better, Kathy. Yeah, I'm all about that. I've even found myself at functions, whether it's just with the kids or, family events, whatever. I don't really even take pictures anymore. I know that's terrible because you should like capture the moments or whatever, but I just like being there and I just like being in the moment instead of worrying about stupid things like doing dishes and just be there. I love it. That's perfect. I think that we should go back to like, you have to make something for people. Those are my favorite gifts. We did we did it at work one year. We were all broke. So we decided to do a Christmas exchange, but you weren't allowed to spend any money. You were not allowed to spend even $1, not even on the wrapping paper. And it was so much fun to see the things that people came up with. We picked names, and like the guy that picked my name, I was big into couponing at the time. You know, like I would save a ton of money on groceries. I would be that annoying person in line that you didn't want to be behind. But I was super big into couponing, and he lived in an apartment building. And so for like 4 or 5 weeks before Christmas, he would just steal the coupons from everyone in his apartment building, and he just gave them to me in an old, like it was a PlayStation box or something, and that's what he gave me for Christmas, and it was freaking one of my favorite presents ever. Like, that's super thoughtful, and it didn't cost him anything. But people were like finding things around their house that they, you know, that they thought the other person would like. They were making things, they were like baking or whatever. Because I think that was the only rule, is if you wanted to make food, you were allowed to like buy the ingredients. But I think that too much of Christmas is like focused on, you know, the dollar amount of it. And I think that's so ridiculous. I think that people forget about those things, but it's the heartfelt, like handmade stuff that people remember forever and they talk about for a long time. Yeah, a lot of times that's the only time families see each other. I know your family's super close and you see your kids pretty often. But yeah, a lot of times that's what Christmas is. Nice. The Christmas classics. That's a good idea too, Kathy. You really mastered Christmas this year. That's awesome. I don't know. I think that that's a each kid kind of thing. I think each kid is different and their maturity levels are different. I don't know that there's like a magic number for that. I think it's just depends on the kid. I feel like it's one of those things you'll know. I think 13 is fine. But yeah, sometimes you'll have kids who like to tattle things, and so maybe they're not the best person to have help you. I made a lot fewer cookies this year too, but I'm totally okay with that. Because then I'm just sitting here eating the cookies. And that's not good. Although those freeze really well too. Oh. Yeah. So it's, guys, this hour goes so fast. Holy cow. I do have somebody who is going to help me with some marketing stuff. I actually met this person through work, and it's one of those things where, like, you know, the stars aligned and I wasn't supposed to be at the office the day that he came in there. And, you know, we ended up talking while we were waiting for my boss to get off the phone or whatever she was doing. And it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, we're both super supportive of what the other person's doing. And it was just really cool the way that I ended up meeting them. But anyways, there will be more about that. He's going to work on some marketing stuff for me. So I'm super excited about that. And I promise I will work on convincing my brain that I am not too dumb to figure out how to take phone calls. And I will get that done. Couple reminders. Check on your guy friends. Don't ever tell them to man up. And if you are having a bad day or something bad happens, don't forget to set your 5-minute timer. Set your timer. Be angry, be mad, cry, throw things, scream the F word, whatever you got to do. And then when that timer goes off, then start working on solutions, right? Because like I tell my kids, tears and tantrums don't build time machines. So try to remember to only allow yourself 5-10 minutes, whatever you want to set your timer for. But when you hear that timer go off, then it's time to start focusing on solutions. People have tried it in the past and they're like, I thought you were crazy when you said it, but it actually helps. Something about that beeping timer like tricks your brain to, you know, put your big girl pants on and get your shit together and start working on solutions. All right. Thank you guys so much, so much for tuning in. Seriously, you have no idea how important this is to me. Yes, next week, I wanted to tell you guys on the show so that she can't back out. We are going to have a really good talk. My sister is also very good with just mental health in general, but I do want to talk about addiction and recovery and things like that because she's a fantastic person to talk to about it. You guys have a wonderful night and I will talk to you next week. Don't forget to message me with any topics that you want to talk about on next week's show. It doesn't have to be about addiction or anything like that. If there's anything you want to talk about, let me know. And guys, if you need a person, I'll be your person. Okay. You can always talk to me. I will never tell you to man up. Okay. Have a great night, you guys, and I will talk to you next week.